Okay, so I decided that I saw a lot of requests for allies and such like that. So I thought, well, perhaps rather than just releasing any general script, we should explain how to go out actually, starting to create that yourself. Because there are so many different things you can do with AI. That it's just something that would never really be able to get finished to everyone's satisfaction, like using cover, using special abilities, reloading, uh, teamwork, and all sorts of stuff that you can actually implement. That all takes a long, like different amounts of time. So today I'm just going to go over a sort of very basic AI system. Basically just going to be some form of ranged combat between one team and another, and maybe some very basic like order issues from the player, such as go fight that group over there, that sort of very basic command. So we're going to start by just creating a new folder, just so I can keep it separate. So I'm going to go with ally examples, and then all you really need is these two scripts, one for your just thinking, do I need two or one? Alright, let's just try it with one. So you can name it anything, of course, as long as you keep the actual insides the same. I'm just going to go with Team AI because they're going to be in teams. Now I'm going to set it up to store the name. Actually, I'm going to go with team equals name, and then just set this. Oops. Patrol. Okay, so I need to store the team. Right. So basically, the idea will be that I will have two teams, and I'm going to set which team they are on by the name. So anyone with the same name will be on one team, and then anyone with the same name will be on the other team. So like you can name all team 1 and then name the second team all team 2, and then all of the people on team 1 will know that they don't need to attack team 1, but they'll know to attack team 2 and vice versa. So I mean, this is going to be, like I say, very basic, and it won't be for anything too advanced. It'll just be for people that really learning how to code in Lua and GG and everything. So yeah, I mean, this probably isn't going to be like the best way to do anything. I'm going to say right now, I'm definitely not a professional coder or anything like that. So if I get anything wrong, that's going to be expected. I'm still very much learning and getting to know more and more as I expand on the scripts that I actually write. So first off, I've got the basic layout done of how to set up the script in Lua for GG to use. So basically, like I say, just set up the team to be stored in the name of the actual entity itself, which will be, go ahead and just add one for now. So we'll go with Arbor Soldier Red and Arbor Soldier just because they kind of look different. So there we go. That will be, the red ones will be on one team. Let's just zoom it right in so we can see that a bit better. So the red team will be one team and then blue will be the other team. But again, it's just going to be based on the actual name you give them in here. But this is just for ease. Yeah, so if you change the name, so like I say, Team 1, there's no reason why you can't have all of soldiers versus all of the zombies, although like I say, this is going to be literally just ranged combat, because the way you set it up between the two is going to be very different. So first things first, you want to do if state equals, and then I'm just going to go patrol because that's my starting state. So there we go, we've got a nice basic patrol. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set them up to use the waypoint code, which is here. So I'm just going to copy this out from the basic AI code. So already you can see it's got a lot bigger in code, but for the most part it's going to be pretty standard stuff. There's not really any way to make this all that much shorter, although I don't really see the point in some of this stuff. Like heading home seems a bit random, and I'm going to remove that one, and then I want to just change. I don't like using that entity name number thing. So that should be okay. I copy that in as well. So I've now duplicated that, but that's fine. Just remove that. Right. Okay. So if your path equals 1, so we're going to have to set that up here. Path index equals -1, so that it knows that will be -1, and then it will be -2, and so on and so forth, trying to find a path. And that's just literally to follow the waypoints, or not if you don't set them. So now we need to determine if they can find an actual enemy. So that would start with a for loop. Doesn't have to be a for loop, I guess, but I prefer for loops because they're less prone to errors. Actually, what we will do is we will pull x enemies equals e. Right, and basically that's just going to update or increase every single time one of these guys is loaded, and then rather than setting like a really high number in here, we can just do max enemies in here, and then that guarantees that as many enemies as you got will be counted, but any extra numbers, it's just like a slight optimization, very small one, doesn't really make a lot of difference in my opinion, but it's a slight useful thing. And you can do the same for the start if you want. You just need to be a bit more careful about that. You need to do like if first enemy equals nil, then first enemy equals e, and then end that, and then that will literally only store 1. So again, I'll go ahead and change that. And then if you set your enemies like later on into the map after it's all set up, rather than going through every single entity and then trying to find the characters, it will literally start at whenever you place the first entity. So say I had 1,000 trees and then I placed 50 enemies, rather than going through all 1,050 entities in the map, it would just go from 1,001 to 1,050. So that's basically why I've done that. Right, now I need to just guarantee that the actual entity from A actually exists, because there's no guarantee that you're going to place every single character in a row. So you might have 20 characters and then some trees and then another 10 characters. So you need to also find a way of working out whether they are actually these characters, and there's a simple way of doing that because we've literally just put them on a team. So that's what I'm going to do for now. Just go if team A doesn't equal nil. And then one more check is if team A equals team nope, sorry, it should be if doesn't equal team B then. So now we know that they're not on the same team. So we know the object exists. We know they are actually part of this AI script, and then we know they're not on our team. So now we need to go if, and then there's a sort of, we need to determine whether the enemy is going to be like the closest enemy that we can see, perhaps. I mean, there are other ways you could do this, but that's probably the most easiest way to go about it. Just go for the closest enemy we can see. So we're going to go with if this is one of my functions right here. If get distance is less than nearest enemy, I'll call it. Then, so obviously nearest enemy right now does not exist. So we have to put in nearest enemy, and then we're just going to go with 999. That'll do. So that's just to reset it at the start, and then as it goes through this for loop, it will get smaller and smaller as long as it can see someone. So then, not only do we need them to be closer, but we also need them to be visible, and luckily GG has a very nice, simple way to work that out, and that is literally like this. If AI could see G entity object, which is this actual entity running the script, and then G entity A X, G entity A Y, G entity A Z. And then, so basically if AI could see, which means if this object, which you state first, can see these this position here, which is our target's X, Y, and Z position, then equals 1. So if we can see said nearest enemy, then nearest enemy distance, as it was. So actually I might change this to nearest enemy dist, because we will need to store the nearest enemy, or I'll just call it target, I guess. Target enemy equals, we're just going to go with nil for now. So nearest enemy dist will become the get distance, and target enemy will become A. So now we have defined that he has an actual target, and then we're going to end right there, and end that, and end that, and end that, and that, and end that. So then down here we're going to go if target enemy E doesn't equal nil, i.e. if we found a target during this whole loop, then we're going to need to change state to tell us to actually go and attack that target. So I'll just put in a little return so that it starts again and it will go down to move. Okay, oops. So now we need to else if AI soldier state equals move, then, right, and now again we need to, obviously I need to define these as well, so maybe I just go and do that real quickly right now. So at the top as the variables, I'm going to go with, these can be local, so nearest enemy dist and target enemy. Okay, so go back down here. Right, now if get distance, and then instead of using A, we're going to be using target enemy, which is why we've stored the A, because this is storing the actual entity number of the target enemy. So if the get distance between this entity and the target entity is less than, we'll just go with attack range, then, and again you're going to just change state. Like to change, you don't technically have to keep changing state, but I like to do that because it makes things easier to keep track of when you're trying to debug any issues you have and such. You just go through and you see which state is broken, and then there's less code to go through. Because as you can see already, there's getting slightly more and more code, and then of course it gets a bit confusing, but if I know that it's going to be in the movement that the issue is, I can just look at this tiny bit of code and ignore all of this up here. So anyway, yeah, we're going to go with, if you're within attack range, then we're just going to swap to attack. If we're out of attack range, then we're going to go with something like AI entity go to position, and then again G entity object, and then G entity, and then this is target enemy E X, and then again G entity target enemy E Z. So a nice long line there, but that basically just means this entity, and as it's an AI command in GG, you need to actually specify it's an object, and then again this is like the X coord of your enemy target that you've just found up here, and then this is the Z location, which is basically all that command needs. It just goes to an X and a Z position, and then this whole function here is part of GG, and it will just literally find its own way to the target. So that's all that's doing. Maybe we want to change it to set character to run right now. So he'll run to this position, and then when he does get into range, he'll swap over to attack. But right now we have one more condition, which is going to be what happens if the enemy dies. So if G entity target enemy E equals nil, or G entity target enemy E health is less than 1, then we're going to change state back to patrolling, or patrol as it was. So yeah, that's just a little reset, just to say if your enemy dies. But we don't actually need that to be in this bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to go with if target enemy E doesn't equal nil, and then we will go with target enemy E equals nil, and that. So that we can remove and put. Oh, actually, no, never mind. I haven't put the ends in yet. Sorry. Okay. Now I know some of you are probably going to be moaning at my indentation not being, you want it all like over here and stuff, but I don't like to do that personally. Oh. The only reason I've actually got this slight indentation here is because this automatically set it there, so I just carried on with that. Otherwise I'm quite happy to have it all right at the start. But yeah, I can see why it can make it easier to read, but personally I find this kind of more confusing. But it doesn't make any difference to the actual script flow. So yep, this is going to be actually outside, so if I just add this in here, then what we're going to do is we're going to go with not outside the main. This is the end of the main right here, and then you'll get the exit call right down here, which is what happens when the object dies. So this will be like the end of the state, basically. and then it will call this. So in any state, if I have a target and he dies or gets removed from the game, it will reset the target back to nil and set me back to patrolling so that I can find a new target, basically. So we've done this bit, and then we're going to go with else if AI soldier state, oops, equals, and then we're going to go with attack. So again, if we have an attack to do, now I'm not going to set up any bullets or anything like that, I'm just literally going to play a sound and just damage the target, basically, and we're going to set that in the script. So first things first, we need some sort of attack delay, as it were. So for now, actually, we're just going to go with rotate to point, slowly, E, and then G entity target, enemy E, X, and again G entity target, enemy. So you can see why you want to store all of these the target enemy, because you don't want to be going through this for loop every single time you need to find an enemy. You just want it once. So that's why you want to store this target enemy until he dies. So at this point, it doesn't matter. Well, it doesn't matter if an enemy suddenly becomes closer or whatever. So obviously that's another thing that you might want to include. If another enemy gets closer to you and you can see him, so maybe you want to add like this check on a timer and go through it every, like 1 second or something, so you can update and find the nearest enemy to you every 1 second, and that way if someone did pop around a corner in front of you, you would attack him rather than carry on going for your original target until he dies. Or if your original target perhaps ran out of sight and then you had another visible target, you just start shooting at him. It's that's probably a smarter way to do it, but it's slightly more resource intensive in that you would need to keep constantly running this for loop to make it, like I say, every second or something, just to make it update the target, which is totally doable. You can do that. This is one of my own functions again, just sort of slowly rotates the target to the target position, and then this is the speed of it. 0.2 is quite sort of, it's a reasonable speed. We're gonna have to go with AI entity stop here, because we don't want him to keep running towards the target. Okay, so if get timer E is greater than, we'll go with attack delay, and start timer so that it's back to 0, and then we'll play sound E and 1, and then we will set the entity health and G entity target, because we're not doing our own, we're doing the enemy health. So we're setting his health. How does this work? Is this G entity health? You need to put a thing in, don't we? Yeah. And then again, we're going to go with. Oh, sorry, I put that into wrong. That's why. Oh, that's why it was confusing me. G entity target health minus, and then we'll do attack damage. Right. So we have set the target, and then we've set his health. We've got his current health, and then we've just taken off the attack damage of this entity, which we haven't set yet, but we'll set up here. So we need to do 2 more up here. So we've got local, which is attack range. We'll just call this 1,000, and then attack delay, which will be milliseconds, so we'll just go with maybe 1-3 for now, and then attack damage can be, I don't know, 25. I think that's about what the player damage is, somewhere there. So that'll be fine, and then we will end that. And then, like I say, that's the end of the state there. What else do I need to do? I know. I need to, if get distance, I need this here to go in here. So basically, if you're in attack range, you need to do that. Otherwise, we're going to go to change the state to move. So if the target sort of moved out of our range, we would need to update so that we could move rather than just stand there looking like a moron. Okay, so what else do I need to do here? Yeah, what you could do here is we will do a start timer right here so that you don't automatically fire on your first shot, perhaps. It's optional, I guess. Actually, no, we'll leave that out, so that you will automatically fire that first shot as soon as you get into range. We will add a timer here as well. If get timer E is greater than, let's say, if it takes us 2,500. Actually, let's put that in here. Or get timer E is greater than 2,500. And then we'll add the start timer in here. And then I can remove this. So I've just basically said if we have a target enemy and the timer is becomes greater than 2.5 seconds. So if we have found an enemy but we'll move in towards him and we haven't started firing basically within 2, because this is above the attack delay. I might actually just add that in this way instead. So I'll just make sure that that's above the attack delay so that it won't suddenly reset your target while you're firing. And then, like I say, that will just sort of allow the AI to be a little bit smarter, I think. So what we do now is we're going to add in a sound for the shots. So we'll have a single round there, and then we'll have a let's just have that one. Okay, so I need to go back up, and then we'll just actually let's extract. Oh wait, I know what I need to do. I need to change this so that hopefully I don't need to be stood right in the middle of the fight for them to keep actually fighting. Don't know if it actually works with characters or what though. Hopefully. Right. So like I say, obviously I will likely have made some mistakes and I will need to go and fix those. But let's just see what happens. Yep, 0 move. Oh, they attacked me. Did I not change the script? That might be why. I didn't change the script. Well, there you go, that's why. Okay, so it does help if you put the right script in. Right, it's right here, and then that one. So that's 5 of those, and I'll just put like 6 of these perhaps. So yeah, I haven't changed the names, just literally gonna go with whatever I've got. So there we are, four of those. There we are. So the grey one should win, but we'll see. Right, any errors? No errors. Okay, that's good. So there you go. You can see already have a shooting match. Okay, that's very noisy. Let's turn that down. Okay, so why did nobody die? Chance to target enemy, chance targeting health, minus attack damage. I did put attack damage in, didn't I? Yes. Unless that's a like 100 health. 100 health. Okay. So what did I do wrong here? GNC target enemy E. GNC target enemy health. Well, that looks right. So why is it not dating? I mean, you can clearly hear the sound, so we know it's running this bit of code. So what have I messed up here? I didn't get any error. Is that not? I swear that's how you use that command. Set entity health E and value, yeah. Okay. So set entity target to his health minus attack damage. Is it literally just because I've set them always active that they can't die? Okay, what I'm going to do is if first enemy equals E, then prompt GNC health, and right. I mean, I could technically just go. Actually, I could just do that first enemy, like that. There we go. Oh wait. Yeah. So now we just see the first guy's health all the time. So he's got 100 health at the start, obviously. Okay, hang on a minute. Let me. This is NT1, so if I move him closer. He should be the first enemy, obviously, being number 1. He should be the first one they fire. Weird. So it's the health GNC E by GNC tag E health minus the attack damage. Oh, I know what I've done wrong. That should be like that. There we go. Slight mistake in how I used the command. No, it'll work. There we go. It'll definitely work now. Okay. So they're not actually finding a new target. Ah, and of course I know why that is as well. Because when I went through and